Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, and Happy New Year, I guess. As you can tell, I'm recording this the same time I've recorded my Christmas bonus video, just because, as said, as of the other side of the weekend, I'm going to be moving around for Christmas, and you may see some videos recorded from me and done subsequent to this week into the new year. But for the most part, I've got a little bit of a gap here, but I'm still going to be uploading stuff from work I've already done, and possibly stuff that I add in as little bonuses along the way. We'll see how it goes. But the one thing that I wanted to come in and take a look at was a year in review for me, because obviously I've only been here posting for the last few couple of months. And lots of people think New Year's resolutions. Obviously, lots of people come to coaches in the new year because they've got all of these things that they didn't achieve the year before that they want to now achieve this coming year, and as a result, they come across coaches and they'll start with them and they'll start talking and they'll start working on things and trying to achieve those goals. And so, who knows? Potentially, my year will pick up and be quite busy to begin with, but. I wanted to speak, as I've said, kind of living by example. I want to talk about kind of where I was at the beginning of this year, or of 2016, where I feel I've ended up, and then how I want to approach this next year, and also some of my goals, because some of my goals are obviously going to involve this channel and obviously going to involve you guys, to one degree or another. And so, I started off this year. I was really frustrated. I was really tired from 2015. I had my last contract that I had gotten in on kind of terminate in a really rough fashion, whereby I left because they were asking me things that were not only unethical but against my contract and borderline illegal. And as a result, I was not happy with that, and I picked up and I left. And from what I heard subsequent, I wasn't the only person to have done that in the past, but it was one of those things that just kind of kicked me into gear, get me really pissed off, frustrated with how things are working. And so I moved on and I pressed forward and I've tried to do more and more and more, and but come the middle of the year, come about June, July time, I was continuing to get frustrated. I was continuing to get worn out, just like running and bashing my head against a brick wall. And most of that revolved around interactions with people who, for one reason or another, were unwilling to listen, unwilling to talk, on the more business side of what I do. People who I would try and network with, people who I would try and offer my services to, or people that would come to me and expect things that I'm not capable of doing. People would come to me and ask me to literally tell them how to live their lives. That isn't something that I'm in the business of doing. I'm there to help people live their lives the way that they want to, by offering some clarity through questioning, through offering someone that they need to be accountable to, and so on and so forth. I'm not there just to dictate how. I'm not there as an individual to run a real world game of The Sims. That would be a really odd and terrible thing, because I don't know those people's lives as well as they know their own life. I'm just there to make sure a little bit of clarity, a little bit of planning goes into what they want to do, so that they can actually get there. And so as a result, I got to the middle of the year. I was very tired. I was very frustrated. I had this idea for a YouTube channel kicking around for a long time, because I had discussions with people in the past, as I've said, in regards to writing a book, in regards to possibly doing things as kind of radio segments and things like that, even at one point. And it kind of came on to the very kind of interesting moment where I went, do you know what? I'm actually sick of trying to only help one person at a time, and having to try and deal with all these people who are dismissing me because I'm under 30, because I'm because I'm coming into this fresh and I'm actually enthusiastic about it, and they think they're projecting onto me their skepticism because they themselves are only out for themselves. They're not out to help people. Yeah, obviously I need to make a living. I need to find ways to gain money, to gain resources so that I can live, so that I can develop things here as well and whatever else. But what it comes down to is I'm in this because I want to help people. I'm in this because people are important. They are literally the thing that makes up our modern world. Yeah, regardless of what technology, regardless of what systems are in place, or what crises are happening, all of those things at the basic level involve people, and those people living their lives, achieving their potential. That is going to solve far more problems than it's going to cause. And as a result, that's where I want to be. I want to see that big picture and be able to narrow down on smaller people, on smaller groups, on individuals, on arguably myself as well, by taking away things that I learn from other people. I can apply them to my own life and I can develop myself. That's where I want to be. And so that's when I was thinking, do I want to write a book? Do I want to try and investigate these online radio shows? Do I want to do all of these other things? What's the focal point? Where am I going with this? And I was like, I still enjoy coaching. I still very much enjoy one-on-one. I very much enjoy kind of going into an environment that I'm completely alien to, and sitting in that place with that person that needs that help and letting them have a good look at their environment through new eyes, through the reflection that I can offer, and then I get to help them tell their story and how they're a badass, how they're going to climb their mountain, how they're going to beat their dragon at the top, and then we get to move that forward into what they actually do in real life to get where they're going. That's great to me. But the thing is, then, how can I do that with so many more people? How can I expand that? And it's like a lot of what I've been doing so far has been addressing topics that people have come to me with. We've talked it through. I've maybe done some research around it. Otherwise, I've introduced tools that I use. Don't worry, there are so many more of those coming. There are so many other things that I'm doing in terms of topic videos and things. But obviously, I'm brand new on a very competitive platform and with a very limited reach and following from the various places that I'm trying to make people aware of what I'm doing, so it was like, well, if I just sit here and worry about it, if I just sit here and kind of concern myself with all of the issues in regards to setting it up, if I worry about all of those other things, then what it comes down to is I'm never going to do it. I'm not going to do it at all. I'm going to sit here and worry, and I'm going to sit here and think it's not possible. And so I got as much stuff together. I salvaged bits and pieces from people that I know, from the small amount of excess or small amount of expendable cash that I actually had, went all into this. And so as a result, I'm now putting these videos together. I'm doing as much work as I can to try and make them as good as possible. I'm still learning. They're still not as good as I want them to be, but I have limited resources and limited tools, and I'm working on it. But as a result, though, since I started doing this, I have felt much better about what I'm doing and where I'm doing it. I've had much more communication. I've had more questions. I've been able to answer more. I've been able to address more topics that are coming up to people. And even though the feedback may have been from a very small number of you guys that are actually watching my content, or a very small number of you guys who are sending me emails, I've had maybe 3 or 4 that were just plain negative. One of which was the stereotypical "please kill yourself" email, which kind of made me laugh. But the rest have all been really positive, or they've been questions. They've been people asking me to talk about other things, and do more on certain topics and how I've worked with things in the past as well. It's all stuff that I want to address, and it's all stuff that I'm working hard to address. And as a result, that's where I was, and that's where I've gotten to now. the things that are happening on YouTube as a platform where it's far more uncertain, far more unstable. That's not ideal. The reach that I have is growing almost day on day, according to my numbers on things like Facebook and on YouTube itself. But obviously, I still feel that there's more that I need to do. There's more that I can do, and so my goals for this coming year are pretty straightforward and simple. I need to make sure that I'm continuing to improve my videos. I know that they've been coming out as a lower quality, and from what I can tell, it's the compression on the video once I've cut it down, and then the further compression as it goes onto YouTube that's causing that. I want to find a way to remedy that issue. I want to find a better way to do more overlays and more bits and pieces, so that I can show more off to you guys as I'm talking, because I know full well that my face by itself is maybe not the most entertaining thing all the time. And then on top of that, I just want to keep helping people. I want to gain more feedback from you guys. I want to gain more in regards to kind of just the reach of the channel, so that I can just help more people. Because as I've said before, if I'm only helping one of you at all who's actually watching the content, finding it useful, finding it informative, maybe helping you solve some problems in your own situation, then that makes it all worth it. But obviously, if I can help more than one of you, then that's the goal. If I can help every single person who comes to my channel, watches a few of my videos, and it gives them some extra insight, it gives them a new perspective, it gives them something else to think on, or something else to work with, or a tool that they can apply to their lives in such a way as to make it better for themselves, or at least easier maybe, give them some better understanding of themselves, whatever it ends up being. If that's something that I can do, that's something that I want to push forward with. And then the last thing that I want to do is I want to have a bit more fun, because I've talked about doing game design stuff and writing of games. I've talked about running like tabletop games. I've talked about discussing more in regards to kind of how I would put those things together. And I also want to do some more experiments. I've got a couple in mind, but they may need a little bit of setup, but more like little experiments, little fun things that we can do together, the same way that I did the Overwatch thing only a couple of days ago between my mother and Hannah's mother, considering they fit into the demographic, the same demographic overall. I would like to look at more things that they can do, I can do, because also you can do all of those things at home by yourself. You can pull up some questions, you can ask them, you can look at some of those things. And I'm not talking about social experiments in regards to some of the silly shit that you see on YouTube that's obviously fake. Well, if I took a microphone out onto the street to look into something, then at times there are certain things that would be really interesting to do with that. And especially around some of the other topics that I'm looking to cover in this coming year that are big branching topics that I could talk on or about, or like gain information from sources like infinitely almost. It'd be really, it's one of those things that I want to go into and take a look at doing more, because then also maybe I can get some of you guys to come along with me and we can take a look at a larger experiment. We can look at gathering more information. And maybe to one extent eventually get to a representative sample, which would be great, because then I'd be able to put that forward as something that we have found out, that we have been able to check. But we'll see how that goes. As I said, some of these are more ambitious than others, but otherwise the one thing that I could do with help with is just that reach, just getting more people to see what I'm doing. And what it comes down to is, if you see a video that you find useful, that you find interesting, or that just you like the sound of what I was saying as I went through stuff, share it, show more people. I've got the various social media. I've got Facebook, Twitter, and I'm obviously on YouTube. Those things, all of those places, I'm possibly going to be rarefying some more of my content between Facebook and YouTube to a degree. But not 100% on that. I'm going to see how that goes, but I'm not a big fan of Twitter, so that is usually just going to be for updates and notifying you guys about what I'm doing, maybe. And maybe the odd comment on what's going on and so on and so forth. But yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment. That's where I'm looking to go, you know, over the next few months, over the next year. And yeah, I'm hoping that you guys come along with me, because there's some really interesting stuff that I think we can do. There's some really interesting stuff that I want to do with you guys, and there's an awful lot that I want to put into this, just to make sure that I'm helping people, just to make sure that the stuff that I'm able to do, the stuff that I'm able to do for ones and twos at a time, I can apply to more people's lives and just get that out there more. Just because there are so many people at the moment who are feeling angry, frustrated, upset, down. We've got so many crises on the planet at the moment, in so many different places, in so many different ways, that I may not be able to impact any of them meaningfully, but if I can impact at least some of the people in each one, then maybe they can carry on the good times that they've had and develop it, and it just have it snowball. You know, this is what I'm hoping to do. This is why I went from management to coaching. You know, as much as there are various forms of coaching that are incredibly lucrative if you've got the connections to make it work, and so on and so forth, the thing that I want to do is help people, is branch out, and is to make this bigger and better, just so that we can help people along. You know, help people feel better, help people achieve what they want, because as said, then that makes just the world a better place. But anyway, as said, my name is Seb Tudor. I am the man on the Silver Mountain. I hope you guys have a great new year and that the hangovers aren't too severe, and I will see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.